Hello, my name is Gloria Roberts. Today we are looking at the topic joints. Objectives of lesson. By the end of the lesson, students should be able to 1. Define the term joints. 2. State all the parts that make up structure of a joint. 3. Give the functions of each part of a joint. 4. Mention and define the two types of joints. 5. Mention the locations of each types of joints in the body. 6. Explain the mechanism involved in the movement of the limb. Definition of joint. Joint is a point or place where two or more bones meet, or articulate, or join. However, the bones of a joint are not directly touching each other. There is a small gap between them. The image below shows some of these joints in our body. We have the pivot joint at the neck, we have the hinge joint at the elbow, we have the gliding joint at the wrist, ball and socket at the shoulder bone, we have the saddle joint, we also have the condyloid joint, which has the joint at the phalanges or the fingers and toes. Structure of a joint. Now, a typical joint of the limb is made up of two or more bones fixed to one another. But don't forget that these two bones are not directly touching each other. There is a very small gap in between them. Now, the structure includes the first part known as articular cartilage. Now, the layer of articular cartilage on the surface of each bone helps to cushion the bones, thereby protecting them from any form of wear or tears. When they move against each other or on each other over time, they are likely to wear off. But since there is a kind of articular cartilage on the surface of each of these bones, it prevents this wear or tear or reduce their effect over time. Now, the second part is the ligament. The ligament is a tough and elastic band of tissues that hold the bones of the joints together. The partly elastic nature of this ligament allows a degree of movement at the joint where they are found. The third one is the synovial membrane. The synovial membrane is a thin membrane that helps in the secretion of a fluid called synovial fluid. The next one is the synovial fluid itself. The synovial fluid is found inside a sac in between the bones. Its function is to serve as a form of lubricant which prevents friction and absorb shock. The next one is the capsule. The capsule is a sac-like structure where the synovial fluid is found. Beside this is an image of the structure of a joint. You can see two bones there. Now, at the surfaces of each of these bones, we have the hyaline cartilage, that is articular cartilage we are talking about. This prevents the kind of serve as a cushion that prevent the wearing and tearing of the bones. Then we also have the synovial membrane. Now, inside the synovial membrane, we have the synovial fluid, and of course we have the capsule, and then the white part outside is the ligament, not the cartilage. The white part outside the bone is the ligament. Types of joints. There are two types of joints. They are 1. Immovable joints. 2. Movable joints. Just as the names appear, as the names are immovable joints, immovable, movable joints, movable. Now, immovable joints. These are the types of joints found in regions where two or more bones are firmly attached together, so that movement of bones at this part is not possible. Examples are suture joint found at the skull. Now, the skull has flat bones, several flat bones coming together, fused together. Now, these flat bones fused together forms what we call the suture joint. It's a kind of joint that doesn't move, cannot allow any degree of movement. Imagine if the flat bones of the skull can move, can shift. Don't want to think about it. Then the other one is pubis symphysis. found at the pelvic girdle. Movable joints. These are joints which allow a degree of movement in one direction or another. Types of movable joints. There are 4 main types of movable joints in the body of man. They are 1. Ball and socket joint. 2. Hinge joint. 3. Gliding or sliding joint. 4. Pivot joint. Now, ball and socket joints. These joints allow rotational movement in all directions, 360 degrees. Examples are the shoulder and hip joints. Now, if you look at your shoulder bone, try and move your shoulder. You find out that it can move in a rotational, kind of circular movement, right? It shows that the joint rotates in all directions. Hinge joints. These joints allow movement in one direction only, that is 180 degree. Elbows and knee joints are example. You can only move your body upward, you can't move it downward, so it moves in only one direction. Pivot joints. This type of joint allow the head to nod or rotate. The joint is found between the atlas and axis vertebrae. The adductor process of the axis acts as a pivot for the atlas so that the skull can rotate about the undertoy process of the axis. Gliding or sliding joints. It allows the sliding of bones over one another. Bones of the wrist and ankle joints slide over each other. They allow the up and down or slight rotational movement. Mechanism of movement at the joint. How does the joint work? Now, muscles are attached to bones with the aid of tendons. Don't forget that bones are attached to one another with the aid of ligaments. Now, the muscles are attached at 2 points, which are the point of origin and the point of insertion. Now, muscles can contract and also relax. When they contract, they become shorter and thicker, but when they relax, they become lengthened and thinner. Now, the pair are therefore said to be antagonistic to one another because they work in opposite direction. Now, this is a structure showing the arm and the muscles found at the arm. So we have the scapula, we have the origins of the muscles there, we have the humerus, which is the bone of the arm. Now, the muscles at the front is called biceps or flexors muscle, while the one behind your arm is called the triceps or extensor muscles. Now, we also have the point of insertion. Just study the image better, you understand. Now, for you to bend your arm, bending of the arm. Now, when the arm limb is bent, it means that the bicep muscle in front contracts, while the tricep muscle behind will relax. So, for you to bend your arm, you can try it. You find out that the front muscle contracts and become kind of bulged out. So, it's shorter and it's thicker. While the one at the back, which is the tricep, relax, is thinner and of course is longer. So this is the image showing you how it will look like. Now, straightening of the arm. When the arm limb is straightened, the bicep muscle in front will relax, while the tricep muscle behind will contract. So you can actually try it. Straighten your arm. You find out that the bulged bicep muscle in front is kind of straightened now, so it means that it has relaxed, while the tricep muscle at the back bulged out, kind of shortened. Okay, it means it has contracted. So study the image for better understanding. So student activities, all you need to do is to click on the link. It will give you some questions to work on, to evaluate yourself, to see your level of understanding of the topic so far. Thanks so much for learning.